Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Brews and Reviews. It's knowledge, and today I'm reviewing Russ's Chomp EP, and I am sipping on a Flying Dog Snake Dog IPA. That's an IPA from Frederick, Maryland, coming in at 7.1%, and this one has a lot of bite, so let's get into Chomp. Russ. I haven't been a huge fan of this dude, which is maybe not the best way to begin a review of his music, just in case some of his fans stumbled upon this. Of course, I know that he has a lot of fans out there, so hear me out. The music does tilt a little too mainstream for me, but I do admire his do-it-yourself aesthetic and everything that he's been going on, his hustling, that he's been out there producing his own stuff, marketing his own stuff, and he's successful because of it. Regardless, the sing-songy, more mainstream, trending, kind of empty lyrics that he has going on a lot of his tracks just weren't for me. But I was drawn to this track list. It features DJ Premier, Busta Rhymes, Benny the Butcher, Black Thought, King Crooked. So I had to check him out. And I admire him because this seems like a passion project. He didn't have to do this and go with the more grimy, more lyrical MCs for guest spots on his album. In fact, it's probably not going to help him sell anything. So this was a passion project from Russ. Seems like he was just trying to collab with some of his favorite MCs and artists. And I really respect that. And I listened to some of his other stuff, and you can tell right from the jump on this one that it's a departure from his normal sound, and not just because of the guest appearances. They aren't necessarily shaping what's going on in the music because he produces several of these tracks himself. So with his beats, lyrics, and flows, he has switched it up on his own. The EP kicks off with Stockholm Syndrome, and there's no intro at all, just right into the bars. And that's the way to start an EP. There's limited time, so just get it from the jump. So that's a good thing that Russ did here, and I always like that when they get right into it from an EP. For his part, he goes 64 bars, which is definitely not something that I heard him do in any of his other songs that I listened to. Maybe he has done it. Like I said, I'm not the hugest Russ fan, so if he's done that before, let me know. But this seems unique that he started out the song like this, and he's going to do this throughout the entire EP. Stockholm Syndrome is the psychological scenario where captives develop feelings and bond with their kidnappers. And on this, lyrically, King Crooked and Russ seem to be saying that labels are the kidnappers and artists are the ones who have Stockholm Syndrome. And that's kind of a clever metaphor and a clever take on industry rule number 4080. They've been saying it since back then, so it's interesting to get a fresh metaphor on that. And if you've listened to his previous work, you can tell that he's switched it up from the very first lines. He's kicking some lyrics, and there's a ton of one-liners on this project, like, "You fake Pat Beverly's always trying to shut down Russ." I respect that. And of course, if you have King Crooked on the track, you have to come with punchlines and you have to do your thing lyrically. But when Crook comes on, he will not be outdone. And I don't want to say that he washed Russ on this because Russ did hold his own given the verbal capacity of his guest star here. But Crook comes in with 64 bars, again, just like Russ, but even more jewels. And among his numerous highlights, he says, "Remember this jewel in the future. Keep one step like Medusa ahead of snakes." Who Wants What featuring Ab-Soul, and we don't hear enough of Solo these days. I'm glad to hear him here, and he has a great verse. And Russ's production continues the trend that he set with the first song, and he keeps it grimy with that style and some boom-bap drums. And again, we hear a long extended verse from Russ full of punchlines. He says, My J's ain't dirty, this is sand from the pyramids. Dave Mirra shit with the bars, I'm a legend. Dave Mirra being the famous BMX bicycle rider, he was a legend with the handlebars. Russ is saying that he's a legend with the rap bars. Ab-Soul, of course, is coming in with numerous one-liners. He says at various points on his long verse that he's KRS-2, I kept the intelligent movement en route thus far. The fame may go to your head, most of it be cap. And my favorite one-liner on the verse, he says, your click ain't on top of the game, that's just a mouse pad. Your click ain't on top of the game, that's just a mouse pad. Inside Job, produced by DJ Premier, and Primo may be low-key the producer of the year. I think a lot of people recognize what Alchemist has done this year. They recognize what Hit Boy has done this year, but Premier has sneakily been producing a lot of hot tracks. And we get a classic Premier sound here. There's some record scratches, and he's chopping up a Method Man sample for the chorus. When I said this seems like a passion project for Russ, his first lines on this track pretty much sum it up. Okay, the last thing that my ego needs is rapping on a Primo beat. And it's no mistake that this is the only solo joint from Russ. He chose to go solo over the Primo beat, saving it for himself versus the other songs that he has guest appearances on. And I think that's a bold decision. And we can see some of the lines in this song. This could be a turning point in Russ's career. I said I'm not a fan from the beginning, maybe still not a fan after the end of this EP, but if he goes in this direction for the future, I will be a fan. And he points to his change in mentality with lines like, only thing I'm scared of in this life is being average. Harvard Business School accepted me. I'm taking classes. I'm trying to keep my mind sharp, working on my cardio. That's why I'm trying to climb the charts. So with this, it feels like Russ has achieved some of the success that he wants financially, but he's trying to do what he wants to do now and be successful and known as a lyricist. Line him up. And speaking of Alchemist, he produced this track, and I said DJ Premier's on a tear. Alchemist is highly recognized, probably the front contender for producer of the year. Alfredo, Price of Tea in China, among many good things that he has produced this year. And here he is on Russ's EP. And this one also features Busta Rhymes. And who knew that he had anything left after releasing 26 tracks on his extended version of ELE2? He's still coming with more bars for 2020. As compared to all the other songs on this EP, this one with the verse from Russ and the chorus sound like his more traditional sound, even though the beat is completely different because it is Alchemist and the guest appearance is different with Busta. But this is more maybe something for his traditional fans to pull them in and get them into this new sound or whatever it is he's pursuing with this EP. Also, Busta's verse is as toned down as Busta Rhymes can get, and he doesn't change the flow up much. It's very straightforward, unlike everything else that we heard on his album. Still a great verse, but can't really hold a candle to anything that he saved for himself on ELE2, in my opinion. Mentem. Let me be honest. When I saw the track list for this Russ EP, I never would have checked for the EP period if it wasn't for this song. And I, of course, skipped straight to this song as soon as I saw it. You cannot go wrong with Benny and Black Thought, as proven by their previous collab, Crown for Kings, one of the best songs on Benny's best album. And Black Thought in particular is on fire with his guest spots this year. Check the Ciroc album and his collab that he did with her, or Shay Noor, for example, just to name a couple. And to add to all this potential for this track, it was produced by the great Ninth Wonder. It is actually impossible for this to be a bad song. If mathematicians calculated the probability of throwing Ninth Wonder in, 2020 Black Thought, 2020 Benny the Butcher, and the probability of this song failing, the chances would be 0%. It can't happen. The beat fades into classic Ninth Wonder soulful production. Russ kicks it off, and we realize at this point that he's gone first on every track that featured another artist on the album, really showing respect to his guest stars. Some people might not notice that, but that is a respectful thing to do for these gods of rap that he's featuring. And he spits some battle bars on this one. He says, "Got a supermodel chick that's badder than Tom Brady's. Rap game bunch of clowns in disguise like John Gacy. You got one plaque and it's not even your song. I got 80. Lately, y'all are lazy, waiting to be carried." Then the butcher coming kills his verse also. He's battling imaginary adversaries, and he says, "By the time you mumble your verse, I'll be in top 5 company, comfortably gunning for first. If it's rap or either trap, one gon' come with some perks, the other coming with a 6-foot hole dug in the earth." You gotta love the Griselda dirty but triplicate rhyme patterns. Fittingly, Black Thought rounds it out, sounding effortless with the best verse on the entire project. That's what comes with experience, kids. Just being able to flow like water over this guest appearance on some possible throwaway verse for Black Thought. And he says, "My wife, kids, and in-laws deserve Renoirs, Picassos and Warhols, just stressing my memoirs about the knowledge of experiences I've endured. Create the bars full of information like SIM cards." The GOAT at work. I enjoyed this change in style from Russ. He's never somebody that I would have given a second listen to before had he not had this track list, and I'm very impressed by the beats on the couple songs that he produced, but mostly that he tried. He tried to change up his style, and he held his own. While his lyrics and his flow were lacking a little bit, he still went toe-to-toe with some of the greats, and you have to respect this album have succeeded without the guest stars? Absolutely not. But curating this kind of talent and getting the most from them is a talent in and of itself, and we can see that here from Russ. Everyone knew who they were going to work with. And if he had just been paying these people to give him some throwaway verse, you would have heard that. I've heard throwaway Black Thought verses. I've heard throwaway King Crooked verses, but everybody came with it. They didn't phone it in. And that's showing respect to the artist whose name is on the cover. This was a good, quick listen, and I hope that Russ continues down this path of hip-hop because he could be a great artist going forward. I give this a 7 out of a 12-pack. Thank you for watching my review of Chomp by Russ. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and hit like and subscribe to my channel. The subscribe link is popping up right now. There's also links to other videos that I've done. I drop hip-hop and hops related content consistently, so until I see you next time, keep buzzing.